Welcome back to another night of college deadlock as we're hopping in with a barn burner between two schools sitting 0-2 in the standings. We got the University of Maryland taking on the University of North Carolina at Charlotte tonight. Sorin, both teams 0-2 tonight, looking for their first win of this season. One's going to walk out victorious. One's going to be going away potentially 0-3 tonight. So it's going to be a really tough night for somebody.
Yeah, it's only 2 games here, and those are each counted individually. So, it could come out that both these teams walk away 1-3. So it is possible here for that to happen. But it's kind of important that we've got University of Maryland in here. They're a pretty big name in esports in general, and we're happy to have them here in Collegiate Deadlock here for Season 2. It's They're in Group 2. This is kind of our middling division. I believe the average rank is somewhere around like Phantom or Oracle for these squads. But hey, nevertheless, we're going to get to see some action tonight.
Nevertheless, let's take a look at our rosters, though, Sorin, and jump right into these two teams. For our first one that we're going to introduce, we got the University of Maryland, where we're looking at Jay, Tango, Christian, Tommy, Carrot, and Jay Keesis to round out that side. For the University of North Carolina at Charlotte Sapphire, we have Synchro, Opal, Gumi, Icy Owl, Pug, and Anchor. Both of these teams coming into it with some pretty good information across the board. I know for University of North Carolina at Charlotte, Gumi, mostly going to be looking at him for Abrams. I mean, you did your research. You said that he doesn't have too much data across it. But for everybody, I'm surprised to see that they have quite a deep pool.
Yeah, there's some kind of mixed roles here on the squad, especially for UNCC, the University of North Carolina. Like, normally when you're looking at a stat locker page, which is just where I get my information from, it's not the most accurate, but it's what we got. So, like, normally you'll see someone with a couple of different tanks. They'll play the Abrams, they'll also be your Billy player and your Shiv player, etc. Some of these top heroes that I'm seeing, like, for Synchro, we've got Shiv, Infernus, and Haze. Like, all right, those are not very similar. So for UNCC, honestly, if that does ring true and they all just play different heroes, that's going to prove interesting during draft, because it means that it's going to be hard to ban out any one player because you've taken away their role. But it also means that you might have to kind of shuffle things around to figure out who's going to be doing what in the team comp.
Yeah, of course. And I think for tonight, of course, it's, kind of getting a little deeper into the patches that we've been having round out Deadlock for the past couple of weeks, Sorin. So a couple of these players might be even practicing some new things, your Silvers, your Celestes, whatever you can see come out from the new draft of heroes that we did see, which I hope to see come through in the draft phase as we jump into it. But Sorin, as we kind of look at this drafting, immediately it's going to be a Silver ban met with a Lady Geist ban.
Yeah, Silver has been kind of up and down since she's been released. She was really strong because she built up wolf form super fast when she first released. Then they toned that back and then gave it kind of a middle ground coming in there. But they also buffed up her human form during all of that. So as people have gotten better with the Bola and building other things so that she's viable during both phases, she's become better and better. And so University of Maryland recognizes that and wants to take that away. Geist, on the other hand, has kind of fallen off a little bit, but she's still a fairly strong gun tank, sort of. Mm-hmm. And so UNCC Sapphire taking that away. And University of Maryland with their first pick of Abrams, likely for Tango, but that does take away that from Gumi on the other side, who we noted was, at least as far as we know, mostly playing that Abrams.
I'm surprised with the Lady Geist ban because it does open up this Abrams into the Billy, now the Shiv for the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. So of course, it's the Deadlock Classic where you're kind of buffing out your frontline tanks right off the bat to see who can get the better carries. Abrams, of course, for Maryland, tried and true, one of the best tanks that you can really have in this game. But Billy Shiv, it's kind of ran the test of Deadlock, and it's come out on top so many times for Maryland. Was curious where they were going to go with this one, but they continue to stay a little beefy on the front line with that Warden. They match it with the Rem supports, that nap time coming in clutch, I'm sure, against what UNCC is about to build out.
Yeah, it's an interesting continuation there for University of Maryland. Would have loved to have seen like a Pocket or something come out against the double tank start for UNCC. Warden, not terrible though. One of the better carries in the meta, I would say, but he does tend to scale more towards the late game, and Rem It's really tough to say right now whether you want Rim, Page, or Kelvin. It really just depends on your players and the matchups. So University of Maryland locking in their support early, at least making sure that they will have one before we get into the second phase of bans.
Viper.
UNCC Sapphire going to bring out the Viper in the first phase. This is a surprise, but it's here in my notes. Monkey Pug apparently plays a decent bit of Viper.
Yeah, and you know, I think that this is just one of those things where UNCC are coming out with a lot of, you know, we don't want to play against the Ladygeist. We want to play that Viper. Play to your comfort, play to your picks. Of course, you know, especially in college Deadlock, we always encourage schools and players to kind of not really follow the meta per se. Just, I think Deadlock's one of those games that you can really get flexible around what fits your style best. And if Viper fits your style and Ladygeist and Bebop don't, hey, who am I to say keep them in that game? Bebop for the second ban for UNCC. See what University of Maryland can go and ban out. Lots to still choose from, of course. You know, Celeste is still in this draft, Sorin. Something that I think a lot of people should be looking to grab. You got so many, you know, initiators and supports to still ban out. Kelvin, Page, definitely some viable targets in the second ban for University of Maryland. And when they do lock it in, it's going to be the Page.
So there you have it. If UNCC Sapphire want to pick up a support, they're likely looking at a Kelvin.
Yeah.
And Rim is pretty good into that dome because the nap time will go through and just hit everyone that's in there. So essentially canceling that ultimate out and on a shorter cooldown. So a solid ban there for University of Maryland, showing good draft strategy. But yeah, you were talking about like how these pools don't necessarily line up with what's meta. And yeah. I think that's very true. You know, it's better to just play what you're good at than to play strictly meta, especially if you haven't practiced it. Apollo's still open here for both these teams. I think, honestly, that's one of the biggest ones not yet picked up. I think Apollo's had a really fantastic time in this meta. But UNCC Sapphire will pick up the Ivy. I was saying that they were probably going to pick up Kelvin if they wanted a support, but Ivy does a pretty good non-healer support job in the game right now. She just picks up a lot of debuffs and applies them with the Kudzu. The massive AoE silence on that ultimate is a really big tool. Can also get someone out of danger, so lots of utility here for them so far.
And, you know, alongside, you know, Ivy eventually building into that Vortex web, you pair that with the chain gain, you pair that with, you know, your Tagling Bola, like whatever you can to just get some massive ultimates off for your team. I think for Ivy, she supports in more than just the healing, which is what makes her good. For Maryland, though, I'd expect this team to start rounding out some DPS, and that's what we're getting to. The Calico pickup for their 4th in the draft. 5th is kind of where I'm looking at them, Sorin, to start to look at, you know, some, exactly, heel cut. Pocket pickup. You wanted to see that in that 3rd or 2nd draft phase against this Shiv Billy. They're going to pick it up for their 5th pick. And for UNCC, now to answer back from this, you kind of have to lead into a Kelvin pick if I'm thinking about it, because you want to make sure that you can keep your team up around that affliction.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you get afflicted and then nap timed in the dome, like, you've essentially just not only lost the Kelvin Dome, you've lost the fight as well, because all of the utility of the Kelvin Dome is gone and you've still got damage coming afterwards. So I almost want UNCC Sapphire to lean more into the damage side of things. Holiday, though, I think continues the draft strategy that they have of just like a lot of CC and kind of chaining that together into Shiv Executes. You've got also the Viper, who can do a poor man's version of Shiv Execute with the Lethal Venom, and then just so much grouping up, and now Amina as well to complement that. So this is, you've got a bit of a front line here with Shiv and Billy for sure, but really you're looking to all pile on top of someone, CC them to death, and just get in a lot of burst damage.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of building out even around their style of individual play. I mean, you got your Spirit Poker and Gamer guy who's going to grab that Mina in that last pick. Icy Owl, who most likely is going to be your specialist on that Holiday. It's kind of rounding out exactly like you would want to for UNCC. And since there's no Kelvin, this is a perfect grab for University of Maryland. You get that Lash to kind of open up these fights, and you pair that Death Slam in with a shoulder charge, with the Last Stands out of that Warden. And this is some great combo ability that Maryland have put together inside of their team comp.
Yeah, the team fight here for University of Maryland is just so much better. However, UNCC Sapphire have a lot of ability to roam around and gank with just like 2 or 3 members and get these skirmishes off in the jungle. So I want to see them play scrappy, not all take big 6v6 lineup and run at each other sort of fights. They're just going to lose that sort of thing with the amount of AoE damage that can come in from Death Slam, from Affliction, from Last Stand. Like, they can't win that. But they have a lot of single target ability for sure.
For UNCC, I think the draft says it all. This is an invade team. You're going to be looking at trying to catch some timings, trying to invade that jungle, get in, catch picks where you can. And for Maryland, I mean, you know that you want to avoid those team fights with how you're breaking this one down, Sorin, because Maryland have the team fight advantage with the draft that they're given. It looks like we're kind of trying to get into this game one, but it seems like the game has decided to give us an update, Sorin, at the dawn of what is 9:30 p.m. on the East Coast. So, I mean, as we let these players in, I mean, I don't know how long this game update's going to take, Sorin, so I think this is a chance where we can kind of step aside, let these players get ready for game one after this draft, let it simmer, and come back when game one is ready. So let's cut to a break and come back with game one on the door. Little bit of a break to get these players all updated and back into the server, but it seems like we are ready to go for our game one coming up very, very shortly. It's the University of Maryland versus the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Once again, taking each other on tonight. My name is Seymour. With me is Sorin. And Sorin, this one's going to be an exciting one because these guys need to turn up today, and I'm excited to see them turn up.
Yeah, this is their shot to get points on the board for this season. It is, as we said, just 2 matches. There's no tiebreaker or anything with the format that we have. It's just each win gets you points going into the season towards seeding for playoffs. So any match that you can win in Collegiate Deadlock matters. So both these teams looking to get a win on the board for tonight. We should be hopping in real soon. I don't believe there were any patch notes for that update. It was just one of the, classic Valve 2 megabyte patches that forces you to restart your game in between matches. But hey, this is what you get when we're alpha testers for a game at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can't, beggars can't be choosers at this point. I'm sure, on the horizon, we're going to be playing the beta. Soon enough, we're going to be playing the full release of this game, and we're going to forget all about these small little patches that fix our beautiful game that is Deadlock. But we're in to the cursed apple, and it's the University of Maryland sitting on the amber hands, University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Rightfully so, they're going to be on the Sapphire Flame. You got Anchor, Opal, Gumi, Pug, Synchro, and Icy Owl. And I'm not sure if exactly this is who's playing what on this side just yet, if names are correct to heroes. They are, and I'm surprised to actually see Gumi sitting on the holiday right now. I definitely expected it to be a little different.
Yeah, it's he's the one who we were calling out was probably going to be on Abrams, but of course that was denied from them. So, all right, looking at the lanes here. In this left side lane, this is where the Viper is, so this is going to be interesting. You've got the Viper paired up with the Billy against the Warden and the Lash. The Lash, I feel like, has a pretty good matchup here if you can go in and get out very quickly without getting got by all of the CC from, like, your Billy, for example. But he can have a really good time if he can get these slams onto the Viper, who could be a pretty squishy target if she's not able to just dodge all of your bullets. Over here in mid, everyone's got all the Spirit Poke heroes, as always. We got Calico, Pocket, Mina, and Holiday all able to dish out good amounts of that purple damage from a distance, just to try and get some pressure here and take all of the farm once that comes up at 6 and 8 minutes. And the right side is where we got our supports and our tanks for both sides.
Well, everybody just kind of sizing each other up, figuring out who does what. to what extent you can get active towards. Binding Word going to be burned really early. That's a long cooldown gone for the Billy, and Billy taking quite a bit of damage off of it as well. The end of the world for Billy, but definitely something to kind of consider against something like a Warden and a Shiv. Or, sorry, a Warden and a Lash coming together on that side, but Billy's just kind of figuring things out. He's still hovering in around half HP. A Lash as well going to be there for Jay Kizis. And that's going to be an exciting one to watch. Movement from Anchor, trying to get away from the Abrams. Jay's going to get this one up, or give it up, and go back to the Guardian, see what you can do here.
Yeah, they managed to get all the way around the tower, get some nice damage onto the UNC players, and the first blood there resulting. And with these Rim minions, you can do a decent amount of tower damage here early, so Icy Owl and... I'm sorry, I lost track of who's on that lane. Icy Owl and Anchor gonna have to rush back and defend their tower, which is already down below half HP, so a great start there for the right side of University of Maryland. And Rem's gonna go on a long box route as a little treat afterwards.
Calico just hiding away. And you see Mina still early in this game, so, you know, a good combo from a Calico with your Gloom Bombs can really do some lethal damage onto that Mina. Rem, not too far away either, looking for the melee. Heavy melee is going to connect as well, and you get that Sleeping Pillow into the slowing hex. Mina has nowhere to go, so you're looking to finish this one off. It's HM. Movement from the Sanguine Retreat's going to get away, and Opal barely staying alive with the movement. I thought she was sure thing dead to rights.
Yeah, now Rem on this mid lane is going to be able to shove that one as well. Leaves his Abrams alone on the right side, but not a whole lot that Synchro and Icy can do here after that early death. And Tango sitting on a nice 3k. He'll likely be the first one to get up to his ultimate there in just under a minute. So, a couple of trades, only one death so far on the board for either side, but generally it seems like Maryland getting the better of the skirmishes that we've seen so far.
I agree.
So you gotta wonder if they'll be more on top when it comes to getting the bridge buffs and the macro that comes out here, because I'd love to see if that translates later in the game. For now, good engaged again from Tango.
Bold to stone form into an Abrams when he still has shoulder charge active, but the Rem trying to leap around. Rotation in from the Holiday, so 3 players in lane for UNCC to try to get this done. Icy Owl supporting from afar, see if you can get linked to your teammate and get it done, but Rem's going to stay alive. Abrams is going to back up. And back in that mid lane when Opal comes back. Second time around, she's not going to get away.
No, that's not enough to save you in a 2v1, and so Holiday forced back over here after an unsuccessful gank. Carrot's sitting a little low on that Rem, but he'll be able to stay just fine with the tag along next time it comes up. And you see him already above half HP. So another kill there for University of Maryland. UNC do strike back over on that left side lane.
Let's go blue.
They managed to take out Monkey. I'm sorry, that's actually over in mid. Must have been caught out on that dive. But Opal goes down a second time, and despite being ahead in souls, it's not really what you want to see from your Mina, who's likely going to be a good majority of the damage here for UNC.
Oh, I'm kind of surprised right now that Opal's even getting aggressive on this Mina right now. You know that there's Cold Front, you know that there's Slowing Hex, and those are two things for a Mina. It doesn't really mix well. Nap time is going to be invested from Carrots, and Tango on this Abrams continuing to prove some issues for Synchro on the Shiv. Not your usual suspect against the Abrams to fall behind, but for Synchro, this is some major issues for UNCC starting to form yet again. Guardian goes down now. Tango's going to get the first one of the game, and forcing this wave into the Walker as Synchro comes back. Tango and Carrots now have to decide, do they really want to stay around? Chain gain. Going to collect. No return to shadows available. Last stand. Going to be invested as well from Jay. The jump up. You're trying to dance around right now if you're Anchor. Critical HP for the Billy. And the gun of the Warden's going to finish the job. Anchor goes down. It's a trade.
Yeah, overall positive for Maryland, but Opal is here on the chase down, trying to find Jay. Manages to get it with a little assistance there from Pug. But Maryland have still been pushing this entire time. That right side Guardian got taken as soon as they got the kill over there, and mid is now down below half, and they get a kill here onto Gumi. And some more over in mid. This is continuing on for Maryland. They're going to lose their Lash most likely here to the Billy of Anchor, but I mean, overall, solid
That's good peel.
engages overall from University of Maryland.
Jake Heesis is able to stay alive, and that's just a good rotation from HM. Assisting on the Calico. Cold Front's going to keep Anchor back, and Carrot Cake on the other side takes down Icy Owl on this Ivy. So you're starting to see University of Maryland really spread their wings off of opening up that first Guardian on the right side of the map, and for Carrot Cake, who could just rotate around on this Rem, especially with not just the movement that Rem brings, but the little tunnels that he can get around with. I mean, this is something that could get scary, especially considering nobody really talks about this, but nap time is on such a low cooldown early.
Yeah, if you put a couple of points into it, especially, it can be really annoying to deal with that just every fight. And I mean, I love what Carrot Cake's been doing so far. Aggressive and early rotations from this Rem, and he's looking to bring down that third Guardian as well.
I see the enemy.
Carrot Cake is just deep in enemy lines. Chain gain onto the Ram. The little guy can't even get away from it. Splashdown. It is a murder in the streets of the Cursed Apple. And some might say it's a little unfair, too. 3-on-1 for a little guy like Rem.
Rat extermination is the technical term there. They had enough of him just being
He's
there
so
whenever
cute,
he wants.
though.
However, brings up some tempo for the other members of University of Maryland. Nice death slam there. Doesn't really catch on to much, but CC starting to come in. Gumi looks like it's going to be the escort to safety for his teammates. He's managed to save
slam.
ICL, but can at least trade it over onto HM.
The Flog doing some serious damage there. The Spirit build onto Lash for Jake Heesis. There's a major burst damage. Lasso onto the Ram. Guardian Ward going to be able to get away from the Guardian. Escape back into the church while Pug escapes back to their side. 2 Guardians down, middle lane and right lane. Left side Guardian still relatively healthy for UNCC. And in return, I mean, that left side Guardian for University of Maryland has taken quite considerable amount of damage. I wouldn't mind seeing UNCC start to get active, see if they can knock that left side Guardian down for a little bit of an OBJ trade, and start getting ready for these bridge buffs.
Yeah, they don't realize it yet, I think, but Lash is the only one over there. He's not really going to be able to hold that particularly well against a Viper and an Ivy, both of whom have great objective damage. However, you see here, Carrot's just taking all those special boxes that only Rim and Calico can get to, and both of them are on that side, so might as well. So,
Why not?
University of Maryland, once again, just setting up for everything coming up here at 10 minutes. Those mid box is about to spawn, in addition to the buffs. As we start to see players rotate, and finally, UNC looking to get active on the left side, potentially.
Yeah, like this. You know you're going to get a timing with those bridge buffs active. Unfortunately, Calico gets a stamina buff. Something she really doesn't need. So that's going to make her even better with this cold front and return to shadows. Lots of damage onto Gomi. Immediately, the Viper's going to be eviscerated by the Calico. You know, the Ivy is not too far away, but those blue icons of UNCC starting to scatter and get away from it. Earn is active. Not a bad time for University of Maryland to start thinking about running it, especially with the small lead that they have.
And Calico heard you. She's going immediately for it with a Rem helper on for a bit of additional speed. Actually, I'm not sure. Earn is supposed to set your speed to one particular number that can't be changed.
Yeah, it's supposed to be static.
I'm curious to know if Rim helpers get that. Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Maybe Guardian Ward too.
But
Affliction onto the Billy. Spirit Lasso's going to pull the pocket right back in. No escape for that flying cloak, and the pocket's going to be the first to die, even with the Affliction. HM going low on the Calico. Synchro's going to finish the job on that second one. Earns down under that middle Guardian. And this has been a successful interaction for UNCC. A major Spirit Lasso for Pug in that moment. And a big shutdown, too, on 2 characters that were starting to pull ahead.
yeah, and that means that Synchro and Opal are actually the lobby leaders right now in terms of souls. Despite Maryland being a little bit ahead in the team aggregate, it's Opal and Synchro who are just that slight bit ahead, and now University of Maryland looking to deny stuff. The nap time doesn't quite connect from Carrot Cake. So now there's actually a favorable earn for UNCC. Despite those couple of kills, the earn had already been picked up as favorable for them, so they'll get to take it in a little bit easier. Now all Guardians down over on that left side, and UNCC starting to make a comeback into this.
This comeback urn actually would be big for UNCC, and I think that University of Maryland, they know this one. They're going to be set up to try to stop it, but it's an instant return. That slam's going to pull them right back in. Drops them right underneath, and the slam on a synchro. Drops the bag. Pug, not long for this world. As soon as you land one left click, HM's there to finish it. Flog on a Pug. Pug is going to collect that kill onto your Holiday. This is a weird one in the escalators. Pamina's going to finish the job. Doing the slide on down, not getting the execute, but it's a 3-for-1 trade. University of Maryland lose the Lash. UNCC get the urn. So that's going to bring us a little bit closer to even in terms of these souls, Sorin. And you know, although University of Maryland are coming up ahead in these team fights, as we would expect, UNCC are doing a good job at farming, at least.
Yeah, Opal at 15k, especially with that bag drop from Lash, is it's going to be a bit strong here. They did leave that left side walker to take some damage, I believe, just from minion waves, potentially buffed up by the assistance from Rem. So a slight bit of extra pressure for Maryland on the map. UNCC have to be a little bit more careful about how they treat that left side lane, but they really want to get these Guardians on the right and middle, so UNCC are going to be pretty stretched out here for map pressure. Although, as I say that, they're about to take mid Guardian just for free. A little mistake here from Maryland. Might be able to get a couple of exit kills as they start to rotate.
Bash down. Rem could be caught in the chain gain, trying to work around the pillars. Pulls in the Abrams, the shoulder charge to the cold front. Seismic impact into the sky. And where do you go with it? You're actually going to go all the way around and leave the Rem to die. So the seismic impact used for an escape out of Tango when your tank has full HP, Carrots needed you most, you weren't there.
Yeah, no tag along buddy this time, and actually nothing came of that mid engage.
Oh my.
Flash is now free to rotate over to here, gets flown out by the Ivy though. Pug escapes on 1 HP. Great teamwork there from the support in Icy Owl. And now that mid Guardian does finally go down, UNCC Sapphire making a fight out of this. They're playing scrappy exactly like I said they need to. Just stay active. Make sure you're taking trades when you have cooldowns. And right now, stay away from Jay Keezus, because this Lash is putting in a lot of damage all over the board.
I know, I mean, improved Spirit, you got Healbane already, and with the amount of kills that you have, I'm sure Healbane has quite a bit of procs. Headhunter, Mystic Burst, Rapid Recharge coming up very soon, I imagine, as you already got extra charge going. Quicksilver Reload. This is a Lash that means business. This is a Lash that's ready for his fights, canonically.
Yeah, he is the champion of the Bear Pit. No Bebop even here to challenge him for that title.
No,
so,
he's banned.
He's gonna... Yeah. Oh, that's why the Bebop was banned. They didn't want to have a Bear Pit brawl come out.
It's all coming back full circle to the lore. It's all about the lore. It always is. Another urn gonna be run. Spirit Lasso on cooldown, so you're not able to rip the Lash to the sky just yet. 6 seconds left in the chase. I mean, you might look to use it, but at the same time, you don't want to risk getting caught out here. Return to Shadow is going to be available. Slowing Hex, everything here for the Calico to be a real pain in the behind of a couple of these members. And Tango's there to help out too. Abrams gets into the mix. Return to Shadow is going to be interrupted by the Stone Form. Icy trying to take to the skies, and the airdrop doesn't bring Pug with him. And gets away safely. Calico taking a lot of damage off that lethal Venom. And in fact, it's Gumi to find the execute. Jay goes down to the killing blow. A couple kills here for UNCC off of losing that urn. They're still finding value around the map as best they can.
Yeah, they're getting some good trades here, but I mean, only so good when you just lost the urn. And Heavy Melee, they're a bit ambitious from Tango, but hey, when your name is Tango, you got a Tango. So, I mean, Maryland are striking back here. They've got a good number of kills. That urn, of course, bringing them up in the soul count. And that said, I think this is what UNCC Sapphire have got to be doing. Like, this isn't a situation where Maryland can bring all their forces to bear in one team fight and just combo everything together. They're being forced to spread out to answer multiple different threats, even just in their jungle. So UNC at least play into their routes so far.
Only 12k souls down. You have all 3 Guardians taken if you're Maryland, have yet to push into a Walker just yet. And with UNCC, I mean, fortunately enough, they've actually chipped away at these Guardians while these individual fights have been going on. Even look at the right side, it's down to half HP, so... That side Walker's going to be gone now. The side of UNCC. And you are completely split over to the right side of the map. Tango doing his best. Seismic impact right back in on top of the Billy. A haymaker with the right hook. And a double shoulder charge back into the wall for the full stun. Behind you is going to be the Shiv. Synchro finds the killing blow with the assist on the kill towards Tango. Now trying to escape from the ever so elusive Calico chasing you down. Return to Shadows at the cold front. Jumping into the back line. Spirit Lasso is going to grab the pocket, but the Affliction's going to land on the 4. Immediately you get out of there if you're Monkey. HM not there to assist you, and although the Affliction's doing a lot of damage, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. There it is, the slice in from the Calico. Takes down Synchro on the re-engage. And there's your trade if you're Maryland, now trying to chase down the rest.
Yeah, I think the signal there for UNC, rather, University of North Carolina, was that Affliction. I think as soon as that hits, you need to start running, and they did not get away fast enough. Synchro will pay for their crimes. That right side Walker is getting pushed on here by Maryland. They know that they've got the pressure. They know that UNC can't quite answer this just yet, but their window is running out as Opal is now coming back with full health. The Affliction is fully worn off. I don't want to see you be pushing this at 18 minutes unless you can get something really big here from Jay Keezus.
Nostra on cooldown right now. No immediate burst down to take that lash out of this play, but the assist still comes through. Lethal Venom is going to collect that execute onto Jay Keezus, and Gumi traded. Goes down for it. Shoulder charge at the back of the Walker. Cold Front going to make it hard for Abrams to really move around in this battle. And Synchro here to assist on trying to take this Abrams and rip him out of this team fight as best as you can. Slice and dice through. Deferring the damage. Backing up the slowing hex from Rem. Giving Tango that space you need to take this next Walker down. Look at the middle of the map.
Alright, it was scrappy. But they did do it. And yeah, UNC almost strike back there on the mid Walker. Holiday comes in and at least gets that Walker down to about a quarter HP. And the exit trades here. This fight does not stop. Both these teams are just constantly wanting to fight.
Yeah, I think for UNCC, this is not really the recipe to bring yourself fully back in this game, especially considering with, you know, University of Maryland walking away with a lot of these kills. Monkey's up to 23k, Jay's 22k, Tango's starting to get pretty tanky on this Abrams as well. I mean, you're kind of in that realm of, yes, you want to fight, but you really need to start choosing these battles correctly if you're UNCC, and I feel like for the most part, they haven't been. They've been throwing themselves at these team fights and hoping it works out.
And away we go.
That's the danger with this comp from University of North Carolina, is that, you know, you want to be getting these skirmishes, but right now Maryland are just rotating really well to try and avoid any one character being caught off. And there's plenty of evade from them as well. I mean, look at most of their roster. Rem has the tag along to be able to get away. Lash with I even forget what that ability is called. He's got the thing that takes him high up in the air. Grapples, thank you.
He's got whips.
You got Calico, who's able to get away very easily. Pocket as well. So slowing hexes here maybe should have been the buy for UNC. Not sure how many of those they have online, but not enough right now, it seems, as Monkey comes in with the big engage.
Yeah, Affliction's going to land onto both Icy Owl and Synchro. Shiv doesn't want to stay around to see the outcome of that battle, so immediately he's going to fall back to your base. You do get the urn, so big ups for UNCC in terms of collecting that objective. It's going to, again, close this to what is a 12k solely, where we've been sitting for quite a while now. And yeah, you've lost 2 walkers, but you're pretty close to knocking down that mid walker. And if eventually UNCC split push correctly and get this mid walker down, I imagine, I don't know the way you look at it, Sorin, but I always value the mid-walker to be equal to, you know, 2 sidewalkers. It just opens up so much more of the map.
Yeah, mid-walker is definitely tougher to push, and so if you can get it down early, that's more valuable. I'm not sure if it's worth twice as much as the side ones, but it is definitely worth more than 1, so have have to see if they can manage to get that, as Pocket here just evading death. 3 members of UNC here trying to take down this Guardian. 22 minutes, it'll go down pretty quick to a Viper, and so they do at least manage to get something on the map here.
It's about time.
Before being forced away. Anchor traded out, though, on the left side.
And that's an immediate usage of the nap time to catch that Billy. HM at 22k, and although you're a little bit behind this Billy, Calico still has enough burst that you're able to just rip through all that health. Leaping Slash away off the slowing hex, gets to safety. The Icy Owl now with that slowing hex is going to be something to worry about if you are this Calico. Not going to be able to use some of those movement abilities right away in fights if Icy Owl chooses the right target for that active. And one thing I think for UNCC that I've been really impressed with is the way that Synchro is playing this Shiv. I mean, the value on these killing blows has been there, and as long as you're keeping Tango humbled, I mean, Jay really isn't able to rip that last stand without that front line alongside him on this Abrams.
Yeah, but the later that this goes, you called it correctly earlier, UNCC kind of have a timer on them as this Warden and the Pocket start to get their souls up here. 27k for each of them. Whereas UNCC, a couple thousand behind, and honestly, a 30k Warden is a lot scarier than a 30k Shiv in most situations. So, I mean, Jay getting scaled up here. Looks like he's got mostly gun with a little bit of hybrid there, the Mercurial Magnum and the Leech. So he's going to be a dual threat when it gets to the late game. And HM so far on this Calico.
Such a good call.
Great assassin work.
Because, I mean, you lose that Petrifying Bola. What's going to stop them now from taking this mid-boss? Maybe a Spirit Lasso, the Chain Gain. Stoneform on Ivy, I guess. You can never look past that, but Walker on the right side of the map's going to go down. UNCC trading in the objectives. They need to start to rotate through the middle of the map to see if they can contest this, because the Spirit Lasso is not going to be good enough. Alchemical Fire down in the pit. A little bit of heal cut onto the Lash in the Warden. But here we go for the rest of them. Chain Gang going to be invested all the way into the back. Death Slam's going to rip them apart, and Stoneform's not going to land into enough. The parry, though, gets Monkey and HM. 2 of the Rejuvenators on University of Maryland. UNCC steal one away, but Anchor's still going to go down anyways. 1 Rejuve left that is on Maryland's side, and it looks like there's the last one gone out of this play. Tango down, 5v5. Lots of damage on a Monkey, and now the Pocket is off the respawn. Synchro makes this one a 4v4 after his death. And you can see the health pools of Maryland just not good enough to go for this fight. Opal using the Sanguine Retreat to get away on this Mina. And it's the UNCC walking away with not really a bad team fight. They just gotta get away with numbers. The Arctic Blast is gonna confirm a kill on Dagumi. Numbers on Maryland's side. UNCC need to get away.
5 kill streaks for HM here, being so nimble on this Calico. Arctic Blast cutting those spear resistances so much, and Jake Jesus here also putting in the work on this Lash. I don't hate the mid-boss call there for Maryland. It's very aggressive, but you know that you've got the better 6v6 stand-up and fight sort of team comp. So UNCC come in there, and they do a fairly good job. They deny all of the regions and bring the lead at least within 10k, and taking that Walker as well as a big boon. So good outcome for them, or at least about as good as you could hope given the situation. And a little pest extermination there in the end.
Oh, it's just, it hurts me every time. One thing to think about there, Midwalker leads into, I mean, this Soul lead starting to buff out yet again. You get the Spirit buff on Calico, Gun buff on Jay, so both bridge buffs going to University of Maryland for this next team fight, or any that they're looking to catch out in the meantime. You get that right side Walker. If you can start to pull away some of these members of University of Maryland, open up this mid lane, shove a wave, Gumi's going to rip through this Walker in no time.
And he's looking to do that now as the Lash contests, but over here on the Urn, the Affliction has been laid down. Synchro going quite low from that. A nice parry onto the Billy means that Anchor will be out of this fight. And Urn now picked up for Maryland, and they've got everybody back up, even managed to defend that mid Walker. So Maryland, just as soon as UNCC were looking to bring things back in, immediately denied with fantastic individual play from the University of Maryland, now back up to 20k lead and looking to push this mid Walker with 3 dead.
Not a bad plan. And Gumi, plans thwarted to steal away that mid Walker by Jay Keesis, has the Death Slam, goes right in. Gumi gonna be caught on the edge of the slam. And that should be the mid walker hotly contested here. Dive in for Mina. No Sanguine Retreat, going to be caught in the Arctic Blast. Soon enough, should be able to get away from this one. Return to Shadows, looking to track down this Mina up in the sky. Knocks Nostra on the way down. Is going to be enough. Nap time makes it not enough. Parry out the Calico, but it doesn't matter. This walker is going down. The last walker for UNCSC is going down. And with it, 6 members of Maryland still alive. They get back up, buy the last couple of items that they do need to get, and start to march their way to looking for an endgame.
He's looking up here, 30k ahead. Jay here on 35k. Monkey also. Both dangerous in the late game with their ultimates, or even just in the neutrals here, as Anchor's learning very quickly. This Spellslinger for Warden. I mean, you get that online and you've thrown out flasks to keep those stacks up, you are shredding. And Anchor, yeah, down for 62 seconds. As the team does not come in quick enough to save him. So now if you're University of Maryland, you're just looking to take as much farm as you can from the opposite side of the map. Plenty of your own still up to go for once that happens, and just wait for this next mid-boss when you can really force an advantage to push into base.
And it's not going to be that far away, too. If somebody from Maryland is tracking these timers, you know, just 3 more minutes, and you're looking to win game number 1. UNCC, I mean, they have the surprise comp on their side. You got Chain Gain, which hasn't really had the biggest impact in these fights from Anchor. A Stone Form that can contest. Pug's been on point with these Spirit Lassos, always hitting a target. So if you can grab somebody from Pug and blow them up with the Nox Nostra, there's your chance at taking a lead or taking an advantage in these team fights that you're looking for. It's just who do you pick? You said earlier, there's not really many targets. I think the only target that you can really go for is Jay on this Warden, and even then, there's a lot of health to get through.
Warden not the squishiest M1 carry in the game, but yeah, UNC, the issue with playing this comp is that you have to be very active. You can't ever really just sit still and, you know, play the farm game, play the slow game. You've got to be setting up these multi-person jumps ahead of time. You know, you need to be looking at what camps are being taken and how you can exploit someone being a little bit too far away from their team on the map, and that's tough to do for a lot of these teams. So UNC have a difficult task ahead of them, especially with how far ahead Maryland have gotten and what stage of the game that we're at. It just becomes so much more difficult to catch out one of these players now that everybody knows that they need to be grouping up.
Death Ball strategy for Maryland. All that they need coming up. Bridge buffs, 5 seconds, and don't really expect UNCC to try to contest it. As it looks like Calico's going to get the stamina. No, Lash is going to get the stamina on left side. Right side, it's health buff, and that green buff is going to stay active a little bit longer. Everybody moving to the left side of the map to contest this Urn take. Early chain gain from Anchor, and that's going to proc the last stand at a J. All the way deep into the enemy side. Nap time now is going to do so much. Parry on a Tango. Synchro with a well-timed F. But it's a knockdown. It's going to make it hard for the Synchro to stay alive. Still weathering the storm. Still deferring the damage. Anchor's finally out of the play. Was it enough? 4 versus 4. Low HP for Tango. Gumi going to get tracked down and taken out of the fight. Lots here to worry about if you're HM, and it's Opal to execute. Mina. Getting this into a 2 versus 3. Backing up into the library. Enchanter Satchel in the cold front forward, trying to take Opal out of the fight, and Tango finally gonna get the job done onto the Mina. Last one up is Pug. The only one alive is Pug. There's an Urn to run, some waves to clean up, and a bridge buff on the right side to grab if you want to.
Mid-boss in, well, now, I suppose, if you can find the damage here between Tango, Monkey, and Carrots. Not really sure if you can, though, but UNC, they're honestly great job doing as well as you did. You're down 30,000 souls. You've got a team comp that really wants that individual targets rather than those big grouped up team fights, and you still managed to come away with very nearly the fight win. I mean, you were up 6v4 very briefly there before, I believe it was Anchor was the first to fall for UNC Sapphire. So, I mean, you're doing a decent job in these team fights. You just got to recognize that those aren't your team fights.
Yeah.
You know, I like the idea of contesting the Urn. It's just, Maryland were ready for it.
I think it's
And
more of an idea,
They're not going to
too.
lose that kind of engage.
You have a couple heroes from Maryland that don't necessarily need to live through these team fights. It's just you get in, you do your job, and if you don't make it out, everybody else is going to clean up. I mean, you have an Abrams, a Warden, a Pocket, and a Calico all there to clean up what Jay Keezus and Carrot can start with this nap time or this death slam. And even if UNCC take down these initiators, there's still 4 strong carries behind them that can pick up the rest. And you see that there in that last team fight for UNCC against Maryland. And like you said, I mean, you get those first 2 picks, but you look at the health pool of UNCC and what comes next, you really don't want to deal with.
And at this point, the things you don't want to deal with is just about any of University of Maryland's heroes. Monkey, after that team fight, staying alive there on the Pocket, up to 50k. He's going to have the biggest afflictions you've ever seen at 32 minutes from a Pocket. And with mid-boss up, I mean, all Maryland need is 1 player out of position to go for it. And honestly, it doesn't even look like they're waiting for that. They're just going off wave states.
Why not? 6 ultimates on both sides. Soon enough, the roar of the mid-boss is going to be heard by all of UNCC, and it sounds like it's a bait. This is a perfect call. And why not? UNCC are falling for it. So here's your chance if you're Maryland to catch a couple players unknowing, and as soon as Synchro does take a look into the sewers, you can notice that they're not on mid-boss anymore, and you need to be vigilant on what is coming. Rem rotating away. Sanguine Retreat's going to get through this Death Slam, but you drop Icy Owl right into the last stand, re-engage with the chain gain, and the Billy's trying to do enough. Counterspell catches Tango. It catches the HM as well. 2 parries, not able to keep you alive. 4 go down immediately, and the chase down for the rest. Pug running away. Synchro almost to the base. Is it enough to keep your Shiv alive? No, Monkey's the one to finish the job. And now you catch the Guardians of the base, and you are rolling out the red carpet to win the game number 1.
Yeah, it looks like Warden going to go back and solo the rest of mid-boss potentially. Okay, no, the rest of the team coming back to help him as well. But yeah, UNC, again, they're kind of forced to fight when they don't have to. You hear the mid-boss roar, you go in, as you said, Synchro notices that they're no longer on it. And at that point, if I'm UNC, I want to start backing out. Like, the whole point of Maryland doing that was to try and force a 6v6 team fight. And UNC go in aggressively, trying to take the same thing. And I mean, they pay for it with 5 lives and 3 rejuves, so now with a 65k lead, this is entirely in Maryland's hands. They can push up however, whenever they like. And despite how scrappy UNC have been in these fights, you've now got a lot of scraps to give to get ahead in these.
Yeah. It's going to be a hard one. You were dealt a tough hand with the comp that's been put together. Looks like they're going to force 1 more urn fight with this Rejuvenator. You got plenty of time to make it happen. It's going to be a comeback urn on the side of UNCC. No wave state to really take some space and defend that. You'll be really relying on these rooftops, but even still, how do you rely on rooftops when there's a flash around?
Not very well, is the answer.
And it doesn't look like they're even going to attempt to contest this one. They're just going to give it up.
I mean, that's probably the play. Much as it stinks to say for UNC Sapphire, you're going up against 3 extra lives. You're going up against 60,000 extra souls. That mid-wave there does pressure Lash back for a second, but even still, UNC Sapphire, you're really just hoping for someone to go out of position into the base. Like, that's about the only thing you can do at this point, or hope for a miracle lasso from Pug, who unfortunately missed one at just the wrong time there onto the Calico delivering the urn, so you've got to hope for something to drag you past these base Guardians and get a fight where, I mean, you can get everybody on top of you at once, and Pug there with another unfortunate miss. Now Maryland are bringing down the base Guardians and getting on top of these shrines. It's looking pretty over, to be honest, Seymour.
Lasso's going to whiff. Alchemical Fire used way early by Pug. Base Guardians getting knocked down. Onto the left side we go. Still trying to find any way in. UNCC have the Nox Nostra. You have the Petrifying Bola, Chain Gain, and the airdrop. If Icy Owl does have that lightning scroll. But they're waiting as long as they can to fight these team fights. With only a minute 40 left on this rejuve. Chain Game's gonna be used. Enchanter Satchel to stay alive. Opal dies. You lose your Mina. She doesn't even use that Nox Nostra. Death Slam into the air is going to rip Pug right back into it. And the slam on down takes your holiday away. Flog is going to assist onto the kill for Icy Owl. 3 dead for the Sapphire side. And now you're into the Shrines. One by one, you knock them down, Sorin. And you said it best. This game is over.
Yeah, this is 60-second death timers for UNC. They might not make it back up in time for Phase 2 defense. Yeah, 40 and 30 seconds left for these respawn timers. I want to see Maryland stay. You're up 6v3.
And you have Rejuve.
Yeah, all right. Looked like there was maybe a call to lead, but they will be staying to finish this out. This is going to be Maryland getting their first win of the season.
One last hurrah for UNCC Sapphire. Last stand going to be interrupted by the Petrifying Bola. Into the mix, it's that Affliction from Monkey that's going to land onto so many players. Anchor's the first one to go down. Ripping through the Patron is all of Maryland, marching their way to their first win of the season, taking game number 1 against UNCC. What a game to start this best of 2. Well, 2 games that we get to see on the night. But for UNCC, I mean, we kind of drew it up in that drafting phase. We knew it was going to be a tough game for them. We saw the team fight capabilities that Maryland were bringing into this game, and they executed nearly perfectly in all their fights. I mean, it got scrappy a few times, but that was kind of expected with UNCC Sapphire's picks as well. I mean, you had potential to isolate some of these members on Maryland, and they did it for the most part as best as they can. You had some really good lassos from Pug to set up some really early kills, but as the game went on and Maryland scaled, it just became way too much to deal with.
Yeah, Maryland, I think, with the clear macro diff in this game, like, I mean, even from the beginning of the game, they started winning their lanes. Carrot Cake started rotating on these rims and getting pickups, getting Guardians, and it just never really stopped from there. UNC played well in the team fights for the comp that they had. As you said, they got trade backs. They managed to make it close a couple of times, but just not enough real utility from their comp to bring them through to really get the sustain in the fights. So I feel like if they have a better draft, they could have at least made this close, especially after coming back from such a rough early game. But the Viper isn't really doing a whole lot in these team fights other than absorbing lash cooldowns. And then, I mean, as much as we saw from the Holiday, the Spirit Lassos were good, couldn't find the damage much elsewhere, and then too much was on the shoulders of this Mina to try and get people within execute range. So if UNC pick up a couple of the big team fight sort of heroes, I feel like they could bring this back for game 2.
No, I agree. I think, you know, getting into game number 2, you're going to reevaluate this draft. You now have a better idea of what favors this Maryland team, kind of where they want to go with their drafting idea, Sorin. And in game number 2, you're going to try to counter that now. And I think that's what I love about Deadlock, is they kind of push in the pull that we get through these drafting phases across a series like this. So as we get ready for game number 2, I think it's going to be... I'm in need of a little bit of a time to step away right now, get some water, Sorin, as we get ready for the second one. So let's back up from the broadcast, go to a little bit of a break, and when we come back with the draft, we'll be ready for game 2 very soon.